I came to WPC about 4.5 years ago with my first pregnancy. I was a first-time mom and was really excited. Fast forward 4.5 years and I'm 32, feeling more established, but I started not feeling well physically. I thought, okay, let me take a pregnancy test and see. When I realized it was positive, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant.
I had a physical at my doctor's appointment and I found out I was pregnant. I was shocked. I spoke to the baby's father and I mentioned to him that I was pregnant, and he was not supportive at all. I was pressured to think abortion, not that I wanted an abortion. That was so against me.
My boyfriend was more worried about the financial side of it. So when I told him that the test was positive, he really wasn't excited. He just said, man. That kind of made me feel bad, confused, because I knew this was a blessing and I was supposed to be excited, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I needed support.
My mom knew I was pregnant from the very beginning, but she wasn't here. She lived in New York and my dad was here, but he still hadn't known. I was by myself. I felt alone. I was scared to confront him or tell anyone else because I didn't know what anyone was going to think of me.
I called my best friend and she said, you know, whatever you decide, I'm here to support you. Whatever you want to do, if you want to have the baby or not, it was in the back of my mind, but I never thought I would consider an abortion. But I wasn't sure if I could handle the responsibility of another child at that time.
I didn't plan this at all, so when I found out I was pregnant, I knew I needed help. I did a lot of research online and I found WPC.
So I went to WPC just to see, how far along I was. So I talked to Veronica, and there was definitely a battle within myself. I was raised in a Christian home, so my upbringing was definitely not to have an abortion. I never thought I would be making that choice at 32. We weren't teenagers without jobs or a home, but I was confused. During my ultrasound, seeing the heart beating definitely made an impression on me. Veronica talked to me about my options, but I left still thinking I was going to go through with the abortion.
I got to WPC. I was scared to open up. I didn't know what to do, and I cried. The baby's father dropped me off and left me to deal with it on my own. I didn't know what to do. He was saying he wanted to build a relationship with my son before we had another child. And he was promising me things like taking me on vacation after I had an abortion.
I actually called the center in Gainesville and made an appointment. And I went. During the ultrasound, I saw the heartbeat, and the nurse, she explained to me how the procedure would happen. I said, okay. But then I started crying. I thought I could do it. I thought this is what I wanted, but it was hard. I started thinking about all of the emotional and physical risks. I knew I would not be able to forgive myself, and I was worried that living with that knowledge that I had an abortion would just eat me alive.
At my first ultrasound, I was very early and we weren't able to see a heartbeat. Even the first time, I was still kind of lost. I was given a lot of good information about my options, and Krista let me know that whatever I decided, she would still be there for me, which made me feel really, really good. But I was still being pressured with something I didn't want to do.
I was determined to go through with it. So I took the pre-meds, the doctor came in, and I just broke down. Thankfully, the doctor also saw that I was very upset. She said she wanted me to be okay with my decision, and I knew I couldn't go through with it. So I walked out of there.
I was in a dark, dark hole because I felt like I had no support. I was crying. I was depressed. I was not myself.
I returned to WPC a few weeks later for another ultrasound. I saw the heartbeat again, and I had such a peace with my decision to parent. I knew I could do this, and that God would help me.
When I came for my second appointment, I was more sure. I was closer to saying I'm not going to do the abortion. The baby's father claimed he was going to be there for me, but everything was about the abortion. You have to do it now. I'll help pay for it. But I knew that if I had an abortion, he was going to be gone the second that I did. And then I was going to be left to deal with it on my own.
I'm so grateful that I made that decision and chose to bring this beautiful boy into the world.
I finally told my dad about the pregnancy, and he wasn't overjoyed. But he told me we were going to go through this together. You're not alone, and I love you with all my heart. That's exactly what I needed to hear. The same things that Krista had told me. After I told my dad, I was sure that I was not going to go through with an abortion. And when I told my mom, she said, I was hoping you were going to say that. And I said, why didn't you tell me that?
My boyfriend eventually got on board too. It took a little while, even through the pregnancy, it was a little tough. But now he's very supportive and helpful. He's up changing diapers and helping me with everything.
She's my everything now. This is my baby. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have her.
Veronica was an ear I could vent to, and she was very supportive. She wasn't judgmental. She knew it was ultimately my choice, and I truly believe she cared. I was comfortable with her. She informed me about all of the options and left the decision up to me.
I highly recommend WPC in the sense of support and the great people that are there. Everyone that I've met from there, they're really great. I'm so glad I found WPC, and I can't thank Krista enough. If I had not come to WPC and talked to Krista, I definitely would have had an abortion. I feel like I found a best friend. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten out of my hole. I was stuck. I really was.
When I look at him, I can't believe he wouldn't have been here if I had made that choice. He is such a gift to me and my entire family.